So let us now proceed with the topic with the very definition of tenses. So what is tense? Tense is a form of verb. It tells us two things. First is the time of an action. How? Let us take a look at an example, and it says we play chess in our free time. One more sentence, we played chess in our free time. Now what is the difference between these two sentences? It is very simple. First one talks about present time and the second sentence talks about past time. How? In the first sentence, there is this verb play, which talks about time of present. In the second sentence, the verb played talks about time of past. I hope you are able to understand this, that your verb form is telling you the time of an action. Let us now proceed to the next use. It also tells us the state of an action. Now, what do I mean with the state of an action? It talks about the state in which the action is in. How? Let us try to understand this with the help of examples. So example is right here, and it says Jennifer sings melodiously. One more sentence, Jennifer is singing a melodious song. Another sentence, and this says Jennifer sang a melodious song. Now what is the difference once again? The first sentence talks about a habitual action. The second sentence talks about the continuity of the action. And in the third sentence, the state of the action is complete. It's all over. How do you get to know the various states of your action? Only by taking a look at your verb form. So your verb is doing this function of telling you whether this action is complete or is going on or it takes place or whatever happens, right? So I hope this definition is quite clear to everyone, where it tells you the time of an action, like present, past or future, or it tells you the state of an action. Let us now proceed with the various types of tenses. So you know this very well, past, present and future. Now what is past? Just imagine 1 month back, you planted some sapling or some plant. So that was the past of that sapling. At present, it has turned into a plant. It has grown up a little. So this time is its present. Then what about future? Well, you'll be finding, you'll come to know that there are some flowers on your plant. So that will be the future of it. So when we talk about present, past and future, all these tenses, they have further subtypes. That means we can say forms of each tense are also there. And what are these forms? Number one is simple or indefinite tense. Then there is progressive, or what you also call as continuous tense. Then there is perfect tense, and then there is perfect continuous tense. Now we'll be dealing with all these types of tenses one by one by taking a look at the various structures of our tenses, right? So first of all, we'll be talking about simple tense, which is present simple, then past simple, and then future simple. Then we'll be talking about continuous, then perfect, and then perfect continuous. Okay, so let us now begin with simple or indefinite tense. First of all, present. So you write your sentence like this: subject plus verb first form, S or ES. If your verb is singular, add S or ES. If the verb is plural, don't add any S or ES after your verb. Then the object, if it is there, right? It's not compulsory that after every verb there would be some object, right? It can be or it cannot be. Then simple past, subject plus verb second form, and simple future, subject plus will or shall plus verb first form. Let us talk about the continuous structures. So present continuous is written like this: subject plus is-mr plus verb with ing added to it. Now in place of is-mr, if you use was-were, it becomes the structure of past continuous: subject plus was-were plus ing verb form. Then future. In future, you will be using the words of future, that means will or shall, plus it will be followed by be plus ing verb form. Let us now talk about perfect tense. So present perfect is written like this: subject plus has, have plus verb third form. Then what about past perfect? It is written like this: subject plus had plus verb third form. And what about future perfect? Subject plus will or shall, the words of future, right? Plus have plus verb third form. Let us now talk about the perfect continuous tense. And it goes like this: present perfect continuous, subject plus has or have plus been plus ing verb form. plus your object plus your time expression. Now time expression means since or for, you will be using any one plus the time. For example, since 7 a.m. For example, for 2 years. So for indicates a duration of time and since is used for denoting a point of time or a fixed time or a definite time. Okay, then what about past perfect continuous? Subject plus had been plus ing verb form plus your time expression. As I told you, object is optional, right? And then what about future perfect continuous? Subject plus will shall have been plus ing verb form plus your time expression. I hope these structures, they are clear to everyone. So let us now proceed to the various uses of your tenses. So first of all, we will be dealing with the present tense. So simple present. Where do we use simple present? When we want to talk about some habits, we use simple present. For example, Neeti reads novels. It talks about a habit. Then when we want to talk about any sort of facts, whether they are scientific facts or universal facts or general facts, we use simple present. For example, the earth revolves around the sun. When we want to talk about some sort of official schedule, right, or we are talking about some future event that has already been planned, we use simple present. For example, the match begins at 9 p.m. It's a schedule. Okay, so I hope this use is clear to everyone, this particular use. Okay, so let us now proceed to the uses of present continuous tense. So we use present continuous to talk about those actions which are going on at the moment of speaking. For example, at this time we are learning tenses. One more example, Neeta is reciting a poem. So this action is going on at the moment of speaking. Then there are some other actions which are not going on at the moment of speaking but are present in the current scenario. For example, we are learning French nowadays. So at the moment, are we learning French? No. But here is your hint, nowadays. So that means you have to use a present continuous here, right? Okay, so let's now proceed to present perfect. It talks about already a finished or a complete action of present time. The kid has eaten all the cupcakes. It took place in the present. It is all over, right? It's all complete in the present time. Then present perfect continuous to indicate that an action started somewhere in the past, right? And it is still going on. For example, I have been working in this office since 2020. So 2020 was in past. I started working then and I'm still working. I hope all these uses of your present tenses, they are clear to everyone. So let us now proceed to the uses of past tense. So simple past to talk about past habit or an action which is already complete in past. For example, my mother wrote a letter yesterday. So yesterday is your word of past, right? So this action took place in the past. It got completed in the past. My mother wrote a letter. And what have we used here? Verb second form. Then past continuous to indicate an action going on in the past, which was going on, which was continuous in the past. For example, they were playing chess when I entered the room. So when I entered the room is a time of past. Okay, and at that time this action was going on. They were playing chess. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let's now proceed to past perfect tense. It talks about an action that took place in the past before another action of past. For example, I had completed my project when you called me. So you called me in the past, but before that happened, I had already completed my project. So both these actions took place in the past and completing the project took place earlier. I hope this is clear to everyone. Let us now discuss past perfect continuous tense. It talks about an action that started at some point in the past and continued for some time in the past only. For example, Mohit had been staying in the same apartment for 5 years. That means he stayed in that particular apartment for a period of 5 years. So I hope you're able to understand this. Let us now proceed to the various uses of future tense. So simple future, it talks about an action that will simply take place in future. For example, my father will book the ticket for the trip. So this will happen in future. Then let's talk about future continuous, something that will be continuous or will be going on at some time in the future. For example, I shall be earning a great amount in coming 3 years. Let us now discuss what are the various uses of future perfect and future perfect continuous. So future perfect says like this, it indicates an action of the future that will complete before another action. Okay. For example, I will have cleaned my room before my parents come here. So my parents will come here in future, okay? And by that time, I will have already cleaned my room. So this action of cleaning the room would have taken place in future before the parents they arrive. I hope this is clear. Let's now proceed to future perfect continuous. It talks about an action which will begin in future and it will continue to certain point in the future. For example, the kid will have been eating cheesecake for 1 hour when his friends arrive. Okay, so it would have been the time of 1 hour, the duration of 1 hour for this action to be going on in future. So I hope this is clear to everyone. Yes, students, we have discussed the various uses of all the tenses. Now I present to you one very interesting situation, and here it is. If I had won a lottery. Now, if I had won a lottery, what would have I done? I would have certainly gone on a world tour, right? What about you? Okay, so students, what do you think? What kind of sentence is this? Well, here we have used obviously tenses in order to denote a conditional sentence. So if this thing has happened, then certainly this would have happened. So here we are going to now study tenses in conditional sentences. Now, what are conditional sentences? Let us try to understand. A sentence in which there is a condition which is followed by its result is known as a conditional sentence. Let us try to understand this with some examples. So here it is. If we work hard, so this is your condition. If we work hard, so what happens when we work hard? Obviously, we achieve success, right? So this is the result. Okay, this is your result and this is your condition. One more example, and it says, if he had worked hard, he could have passed the test. That means he did not pass the test. He was not able to get this result because this condition which is mentioned here, it did not get fulfilled. I hope you are able to understand this. So what is a conditional sentence? It's a sentence in which there is a condition and this condition is followed by its result. Now, let us try to understand what are the various parts of a conditional sentence. So, they are your if clause and your result clause. That means the clause that talks about a condition is your if clause, which is also known as a conditional clause. And your conditional clause is obviously dependent over the main clause or the result clause for its complete meaning. I hope you are able to understand this, and we'll try to understand this with one more example, and this says, if he gets the first position in exams, Dad will buy him a bike. Okay, so this is your condition, the if clause, right? And if this happens, then that will happen. Okay, that is your result. Dad will buy him a bike. Okay, one more thing, just read it individually. If you say it like this, Dad will buy him a bike, does this make complete meaning? Yes, of course, it has got a complete meaning. It stands alone as a sentence. But what about this part? If he gets the first position in exams, this is not giving any complete meaning. So basically, this is dependent over this part in order to give its complete idea. So I hope this is clear to everyone. So basically, what you have to remember is that this part is your if clause or your conditional clause, and the other part is your result clause or your main clause. So here is my question to everyone. Like, suppose I want to write the sentence once again without using any comma. Will I be able to do that? Yes, of course, I'll be able to do that without even removing any of the words or without even adding any of the words. How? I just have to reverse the order of the two clauses and it becomes, Dad will buy him a bike if he gets the first position in exams. So I hope this is clear to everyone that it can be written by reversing the order of the clauses as well. Let us now talk about what are the various types of conditionals. As you can see, there are 4 types of conditionals: 0, first, second and third. Let's discuss 0 conditional first. Okay, so 0 conditional is used to denote scientific or general facts. So first of all, we will be taking a look at its structure, and it is like this: if plus simple present, conditional clause, right? Then comma and then simple present. And here is the example. If we heat ice, so what happens when we heat ice? Obviously, it melts, right? So I hope this is clear to everyone. This is the condition that is used for denoting scientific or general facts. So this is to be remembered. Let us now proceed to first condition. First condition is also known as probable or likely condition. And what does it talk about? It talks about things that are likely to happen in future. And here's the structure. So what does the structure say? If plus simple present. Will, shall, can be plus verb first form. Infinitive means verb first form. And here's the example. If you go out in the rain, what will happen if you go out in the rain? Obviously, you will get wet, right? So I hope even this condition is clear to everyone. This is likely to happen in future now. So if this happens, that will happen. Okay. So I hope I'm clear. Let's now proceed to the second condition. Now, second condition is also known as improbable or unlikely condition or even imaginary condition. It talks about unreal things or imaginary situations of present time. And here is the structure that is related to this condition. If plus simple past, comma, would, could, might plus verb first form. Infinitive means verb first form. And here is your example. It says, if I were a bird, just imagine what would you do if you were a bird? I would certainly fly high in the sky. So I hope even this condition is clear to everyone, and as I told you, it talks about imaginary situations of present. Point to remember, point to note here that here we have used a simple past, but it makes the use of simple past to talk about conditions of present time. So, let us now proceed to the next and the last conditional, and it is third conditional or unfulfilled condition, which talks about unfulfilled conditions of past. And here's the structure, and the structure says if plus past perfect means had plus V3. Then comma, would, could, should, any of these as per the context of the sentence, right? Plus have plus verb third form. Let us take a look at the example, and this says if he had completed his homework on time, he would not have got the punishment, right? So he failed to do his homework on time. That is why he got the punishment. So this is something which was unfulfilled in the past, which did not happen in the past. So here we have completed even this condition, and I'm sure that you are able to understand this. So students, here we have completed all the conditionals. In fact, topic tenses, where we have seen what is a tense, what are the various types of tenses, their uses, as well as the special use of tenses in conditional sentences. So that is all from my side. Thank you.